So with all of the hype surrounded by the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake, I thought that this was a perfect time to talk about remakes, remasters, revivals, and just everything else that these companies do. People are saying that they are going to boycott this now because of a little change up that they did surrounding the career mode in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. Well, is that necessarily a bad thing? And does everyone even understand what remakes, remasters, and the difference between all of this crazy stuff? Well, some people, they have negative things to say. They think that these things are always cash grabs. You know, they think that it's going to have an updated hardware with like this newer stuff going on. You know, you have this better technology. Or people just think it's simply because of nostalgia. But really, with all the new tech and these new audiences in mind, that is kind of why these companies do this stuff. Not necessarily to drive it home for all of the simple nostalgia, because true fans will go ahead and support this stuff no matter what. So this is something that I have been waiting for after, you know, the first one that they did, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. When that game came out, I had to order the collector's edition that came with the awesome skateboard. It came with so much awesome stuff if you ordered it at GameStop. I got that cool little like tech deck, that really cool, you know, little display. So I haven't really actually used that, but it is a neat little trinket, as I remember them doing this stuff with some of these games back in the day on the PlayStation 2, on the GameCube, on the Nintendo 64, just playing these awesome games, having a blast, loving the soundtrack, and just thinking I was the coolest the more points that I racked up compared to some of my friends. But these games, when you remake them, you're essentially taking these old games and constructing them from the ground up. We all know how they have these remakes and remasters, especially when it comes to like Crash Bandicoot, how they decided to do that. They have Resident Evil games. Of course, they change things along the way, whether it ticks people off or kind of makes a better experience. Now, I'm just excited that they're going to do this because that leaves the door open for Tony Hawk Underground 1 and 2. An amazing remaster on those open style games, just having a great time with the characters. And that is what I think kind of misled with, you know, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. Having all of those different voice actors, adding all of that, making it true to the career mode, and kind of having like a slower pace. I think that that's kind of something that they had to keep in mind. So whether you agree with them changing that up or kind of locking it into 2-minute quick pace segments like Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, 2, and 3, I'm just still excited to see how this will turn out, and I'm curious if you guys are willing to look past that. So essentially with like the remasters, you're going to have enhanced visuals, but the core gameplay. So this isn't necessarily a remaster with these enhanced technical aspects. You're having these significant changes to the gameplay, the graphics, even story. That's kind of what a remake is. So I just don't think that everyone truly understands that, and I think that so many people, you know, it even says it too. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4, remaking it and replacing it with these time-based challenges, you know, for the career mode. You have these original parks, but it says a classic roster of skaters with new parks, new skaters, new tricks, remake of 3 and 4. So essentially you are going to change some of the core stuff in these games, but they make it so that people can still enjoy it, and they're trying to capture a different audience. So you are not always the important person out there when it comes to these games. If you want to play something that's true and alike, then you would play it on these original consoles. But not everyone out there collects these old consoles. They don't have this, you know, original hardware. They're not playing it back in the day like we used to on those older TVs. You know, changing this up, you can try and make enhanced gameplay where you kind of upscale things, or you have all of this tech involved trying to emulate some of these games, but you're not really getting that true experience. So of course, things are going to change, they're going to be different, but that's not always a bad thing. So even though I loved how 4 was, and I loved how it kind of shaped and changed, I don't want to boycott it, because then we might not get Tony Hawk, you know, Underground 1 and 2. Just fantastic games, even Bam Margera and all of this craziness going on. Whether they add him in later, whether, you know, things change, whether they completely cut him out, of course things are going to be different, but this stuff really shaped our childhood. The music, just some of these awesome songs that I never would have discovered back in the day, and then being able to go to some of these concerts because I discovered my love of these bands back then. even skateboarding, going to some of the skate parks near me back in the day, having birthday parties there, and just really getting into like a whole different culture at that particular time. Just really something that was so community driven, and these really hammered home. So I'd hate for people to miss out on these just because everyone's boycotting them, when people don't truly understand the differences between remakes, remasters, revival of these franchises, even like downgrades. When you take these different systems and then you downgrade them onto the handhelds. But we didn't complain back then when we were playing them. We'd rather have them on the home consoles. But if you wanted to play games on the go, sometimes you just had a little bit of a downgrade. And that was kind of back in the day with different ports. You know, those arcade ports. Not everyone could have these arcade machines in their house. So when they ported to home consoles, oftentimes it was worse, or not quite like the arcades, but people appreciated them. I think in today's time, everyone is so quick to try and cancel things, trying to give things, you know, an unfair advantage. Yeah, of course it's going to be a little bit different, but it really, you know, is it going to be the worst thing in the world? Probably not. Is it going to be different? Probably. Will it capture a whole new audience? Hopefully, because then this just keeps this franchise going. Maybe eventually down the road they could change something or add something. That would be spectacular to see that. But not always do I think it's a bad thing. So I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you guys, you know, completely write off stuff if it's not the same? Or would you rather just play it on the original console and relive those, you know, childhood memories and that nostalgia? Would you rather have a community grow and people continuing to come together just because you don't fully understand something or you don't want it that particular way? So I want to know in the comments down below. And of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out all of my other videos and stay tuned for more.